One of Satan's greatest tricks is to get you to look backwards and ponder what you should have done differently. If I have to come up with one thing that I hear most often, it would be that. It's like, "Oh, if I would have done such and such, then maybe I shouldn't have married my husband." Or, you know what? I'm thinking I probably should have married that guy I was engaged to and I broke up with. You know what? It should have been assigned to me when my wife did such and such. I should have never married her. Now, I'm talking specifically about the example of marriage, but this happens to people in so many facets of life. We look backwards, we ponder, and what does that do? That gets us angry, that gets us frustrated. It makes us think, oh my gosh, I made a mistake. And I keep my eyes there, and I keep my eyes there, and I keep my eyes there. Well, what's the problem with that? The problem with that is you cannot change it. Not when we're talking about marriage. When you are married, you're married until one of you dies. And I joke all the time with my husband, don't make me cash in on that death do us part clause because I can do it. I got it in writing, but I'm not going to do it. But apart from that, when you really understand that marriage is until death, and I think of the people I interviewed for my book, The Super Couple, A Formula for Extreme Happiness in Marriage, they even acknowledged that in some degree. It's like, well, why bother looking at the menu? One of my super couples said, why should I look at what I should have done differently? It won't change it. If I look at that, I will not be looking at my spouse. I will not be looking at what I do have. And that's what we need to do. We need to look at what we do have. And if it's broken, which in many of your cases it is, how do I fix it? But Satan doesn't want you focusing on that. He wants you to focus on the past. And he's going to tell you, oh, and you see this? You see when he did that? Yeah, you should have known. He was a jerk. She was bad. You should have known. And with culture feeding you as well, they're going to say, yeah, you should have never married her. And then you're just in this angst forever. Like, oh, I'm just so mad. You get resentful. You get bitter. All those emotions that Satan loves to draw up in you, just to drum up in you. He wants you focusing there. But God says, Christine, look at me. And I'm like, but look at that. And he goes, look at me. Look at me. The same thing happened with Peter. You've heard this a million times. When he was walking on water and he asked the Lord, call me, come to you. And the Lord's come. He walked on water. He's a human like you and me. He's a mere mortal. He's a fisherman. And he walked on water because his eyes were fixed on Jesus. But when he took his eyes off Jesus, and again, he looked like, as we all know the story, he started sinking. When you look backwards at the mistakes you made or what you should have done or anything other than looking at God and looking at the face of Christ and staring at the cross, it will eat you up. It's not going to benefit your marriage. So what do? When you catch yourself looking backwards at all the signs you missed or should have seen or saw and ignored, you ask yourself, what good will it do me to ponder that? This is the spouse I was given. This is the one I committed to. I vowed until death do us part, whether I want to or not. And trust me, I wanted out of my vow so many years. When our marriage was bad, I begged God to somehow get me out of that vow. But I'm grateful he didn't, because we're about to embark on our 41st year. Well, actually, we're about to finish our 41st year of marriage. Guys, if anyone knows how difficult it is, I do. I wrote the book. I'm the one that prayed for my spouse to die because it was so painful. And I knew I couldn't get divorced. But don't look backwards, because it doesn't matter and it won't change your situation. Look backwards only to the degree of understanding the problem. Once you understand the problem, look forward and say, okay, what can we do for the solution? And I guarantee you, when you know you can't run, you find solutions that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. I'm Dr. Christine Bacon. Thanks for watching Breakfast with Bacon. And as always, remember to live your life sunny side up.